Oh, that is so badass. Just picks up that hammer like it's nothing. Let's clear out the little guys, because I think there's only this one dude left. Well, that didn't work. Tried to do the... Oh, jeez. So the grapple yourself to him... These are like the super heavy enemies. If a Minotaur is a heavy, this guy is just like an unmovable object. Although he gets stunned a little bit sometimes. Cool. Man, I dare say Kratos swings that harder than the guy wielding it. It's probably fine. Yeah, Metricos, I was trying to think of a good like hashtag for that tweet. Like, oh yeah, it's good or something. It'll run. There's a subreddit called Just Rolled Into the Shop or something, and it's just like mechanic horror stories. You know, if you've ever been driving a car and you hear like a slight like kind of a noise when you hit the brakes, that's because there's no pads left on it. And you're kind of grinding down to the metal part of the brakes. You'll see pictures on that subreddit of like they've not only grinded away or ground away the pad, but like the metal part as well, like just underneath the bicycle spoke looking thing inside the tire, inside the wheel, and they'll hit the brakes and it's like and they're like, oh yeah, I think there's something wrong with my brake, and they'll take pictures of it. Like, how are you still alive? What the fuck? I was not there for that. I'll tell that story in a second. Actually, do you have time to tell it? Because you could add the whole part about your asshole teacher and everything. I mean, do you have time to tell it, or are you waiting to get picked up, or?
No, I can tell it. No, I need about 41 minutes, so I need
At 3. Oh, here, you can tell it in like 10 minutes. Wait, let me. Yeah, Code Red. Remember when I tried to save last time? There was no save point. Here, yeah. But yeah, I was trying to think of a good hashtag for that. But yeah. Oh, Jesus. Hang on. Hang on. But yeah, see what I mean? Yeah, he did a good job welding the car back together. And yeah, like I thought he'd have to like weld my trunk shut and do all this crap. Alright, so what is that? Can I go this way? Oh, I think I make like a Steam fucking thing. Oh yeah, so Angie has a car story that's pretty involved. And it's like a 3-parter, but let's see if she can get through it before she has to leave here.
gotta go over my wignet.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had a 2001 Ford Explorer. She was beautiful. Her name was Norma Jean. She sadly is now owned by some other family. But, so I'm in Ithaca, New York, which is in upstate New York, where it snows 11 months out of the year. And Sean and I were in, what the hell class was it?
ACP Fiction.
ACP Fiction. Advanced Cinema Production Fiction. So...
Leave me be. I tell you, I have paid the price.
I don't want to talk through your
Calm
cutscene.
yourself, Smith.
I know, I didn't know it was Hephaestus. This is James Lipton, by the way, the warden from
Sparta. It is you.
Arrested
Dude.
Development.
You're looking a little fucked up.
I thought Zeus would have killed you by now. I thought you would have escaped this cavern by now. Zeus may have imprisoned me here, But you are the reason I live in torment. I did you
Shut
no wrong,
up.
Hephaestus. I pursue only one.
Rose says, "Hi, BFF."
Well,
What
as
up?
long as it's only one Olympian. I seek the flame of Olympus. Do you know of it? For what purpose, Spartan? For the purpose I have chosen. Now tell me, do you know of the flame?
For the purpose I have chosen. Shut up,
All
Hephaestus.
true children of Olympus know of it. We've all come to respect its power. But don't be fooled by its enticing glow. Neither God nor man can touch its lethal flame. I only need to find it. If you can find your way out of the underworld, I'm sure you can find your way to the flame of Olympus. You have
It's like,
been
fine,
truly
fuck you.
helpful, Hephaestus.
That was kind of a waste of time.
Yeah.
So anyway, 2001 Ford Explorer. She was beautiful. Her name was Norma Jean. So we're in Ithaca, New York, in advanced cinema production fiction, and Sean had a different professor than I did, but it was these two professors who were like,
They were totally banging.
they were totally,
They were banging.
they were totally banging. But they like insisted that there was nothing between them and whatever, and they were both like super loyal to each other, and just it was infuriating because they were the worst teachers that I've ever had in my entire life, and so rude and disrespectful and just assholes. They were assholes. So, I'm driving one day from my dorm room apartment to class, and I hit a patch of black ice and swerve off the road into a ditch. And I was panicking. I was so scared. I thought I was gonna die. Like, the nose of my car was buried in snow. I knew something had happened to my car, but I wasn't sure. I just, like, I was freaking out. I called my dad. I had to call, like, did I call it? I don't remember if I called the tow company to, like, get me out. But, like, still, like, I thought I was gonna die. And, of course, it made me, like, 10 minutes late to my class. So I called my professor to let him know. I was like, look, I'm so sorry. I hit a patch of black ice. Like, I'm in a ditch right now. I'm freaking out, but I'm getting out of it. I'm coming to class. And he was like, okay, well, like, you should have been here on time. You should have left early. I'm like, how was I supposed to know that I was gonna hit a patch of fucking black ice and almost die? And he's like, well, you should have been here on time, so I'm gonna mark you as absent, but you need to get here as soon as you can. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever, I'll see you next week. And just didn't go because fuck that asshole. So over the next couple weeks, I started to hear this like rumbling under my car, and it sounded kind of like rocks were caught in like the undercarriage. And I was like, man, what is that sound? That is so weird. I'm thinking nothing of it, and it kept going for so long that I finally, like, I asked some friends, and I was like, what do you think is wrong? Like, it sounds like rocks. And they're like, oh, well, it's probably just something caught in your undercarriage. You should take it to a car wash. So I go to the car wash, and while I'm on my way to the car wash, something happens to the steering of my car, and all of a sudden I can't, like, steer very well. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with my damn car? I'm like, man, I guess I really should take it to a mechanic. I don't know what the heck's happening. So I go to the car wash, and I'm like, hey, I think there's something caught in the undercarriage of my car. Like, I just want to get it cleaned, blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like, okay, cool, whatever. I'm an Ithaca hippie. I smoked some pot this morning, whatever. And I'm like, all right. So I go, he takes the soap or whatever and starts, you know, soaping it down, and hits my front right tire with the soap, and all of a sudden this like insane amount of smoke starts coming off of it, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, that is really steamy soap. And the guy just like very weirdly calmly knocks on my window and is like, can you turn your car off? And I'm like, yeah, okay, and turn my car off. He's like, your wheel is on fire. I'm like, okay. Why are you so calm about this? And just like washes it down with some water and is like, I don't know if you want to like call somebody. Like, no. So I called AAA and they like came and towed my truck to a mechanic, and it turns out that falling in that ditch had fucked up my tire and like broken the wheel bearing. So while driving to the car wash, what had happened was that wheel bearing had finally like snapped and was grinding against itself and got so superheated that when he hit it with the soap, it was just enough of a catalyst that wheel bearing just lit on fire and totally melted my tire, and the like bearing thing was like completely melted and like just breaking apart and crisping. And I was like, alright. So I guess it's really cool that I didn't die, because that would have sucked. And that's the story of how I almost died.
You gotta tell the epilogue to the story when you had the script supervision requirement.
Oh yeah, that had nothing to do with my car though. That was
Not
just
car,
the
but
asshole
it's
teacher.
tied into
Okay, so tied into that asshole teacher that we had for advanced cinema production. I was doing script supervision on Sean's short film, and he was doing script supervision on mine, which was one of the like major requirements for getting a good grade in that class. Was you had to do script supervision, you had to like care. So Sean had to film, and the only time that he could get the studio space that he was filming in was during my class time. And I'm like, okay, well it should be fine because I'm right next door to my class, and like, you know, I'll be a little late, but I'll pop back and forth, you know, when they're setting up shots, and it'll be fine. Like, it's a requirement for the class. He can't get mad at me. So I talked to the professor and I was like, hey, look, I'm really sorry, but like, you know, Sean is filming next door, and I have to do script supervision, so I don't know, like I might miss most of the class, but I'm gonna pop back and forth and try to, you know, just make everything work, but I have to do this. It's your requirement. And he was like, well, that's unacceptable. I'm like, would what? That I'm doing the thing that you told me to do?
Kratos?
What the fuck is your problem?
How do you know of me?
You're the ghost of Sparta. Everyone knows who you are.
So long story short,
Everyone's
basically the
afraid
same
of
thing
you.
happened, and he was like, well, I'm marking you
There are
absent, but you
reasons
need
for that.
to still do that
I'm not
and
afraid
come
of you.
to class. And I was like, cool, yeah, I'm not coming.
Afraid, child.
Hey,
Fear.
you're
is a heavy
absent, but
burden.
you need to be here.
I'm not a child, Kratos.
It does not matter what you are. My concerns lay elsewhere.
Kratos, please. I need you to free me.
The quest for freedom is also a heavy burden. I cannot help you.
Kratos, why are you such a douche?
You have regained the blade of Olympus. Let the rage of Sparta fuel your blade.
So yeah, Angie kept getting interrupted by cutscenes. But yeah, no, that professor was... I remember she walked into the studio and he's like, yeah, so that professor's being a cock. He's like, oh, well, I've already marked you absent, but you need to come to class. And like, why would I do that? I'm going to receive no credit for doing the shit that you made me do. It's like, here, do this thing. I'm making you do this thing. It's like saying you're required to all get a failing grade in my class. That's a requirement. Now, as soon as I can pause... Okay, I have to do a thing. Hang on.
And I think I even asked him.
Oh, if that would be okay?
Well, no, I asked him, I was like, look, Sean is filming next door. I don't know what to do. Like, I know I have to do the script supervision, but I know that, like, you know, you're not okay with people being late, because I'd already had that. That
Right.
happen. And I was like, so what? I was like, what should I do? And he was like, well, you have to do script supervision as part of the grade. I'm like, okay.
Got that.
But, like, is that going to be okay? I
And he's like, well, I'm marking you absent and like, lose that day. I'm like, I mean, is that like a problem? Am I like in trouble? Like, if I should be in class, I'll be in class. I don't want to lose another. Like, what if I get sick?
Yeah.
I'm losing all my days because you just decided that like I'm in trouble.
Yeah, and they were the other ones too. They say, oh, well, it's in the reading, it's in the book. Yes, thanks, professor.
You know, you can't work class. I'm like, okay, so did you do your reading? We're just going to recite back to you what was in our reading. Oh, I hate I hated them worse than that photography professor who said that C was a good grade.
Ryan Jackson. Yeah, and he only said that because he thought he was being like proactive. And people told him, he's like, oh no, oh really?
He's like, no, C is a great grade for college. Like, C is the same as an A in college. Like, then why is there an option for an A?
Yeah. Yeah, and then you had to go through that bullshit where you bothered him every 10 seconds. Which is good.
Yeah, and then
But
he
like
like got
still,
pissed
you had
at
to
me.
do it.
Yeah, and he like got pissed at me. He's like, well, you shouldn't have to check me. And I'm like, okay, but I keep getting C's in your class, and I want to know what I'm doing wrong and fix it. So, and then
There
he
you go.
finally, I think he gave me like a B plus on my final.
Yeah.
Because it bothered him so much that he finally was like, Jesus fucking Christ, fine, I'll give you a good fucking grade, bitch. I was like, thank you.
And I'm back. Okay. I just put my breakfast burrito in the oven. I will try and look at chat, and I'm probably going to need a reminder for that one. Metricus, don't buy Wolfenstein. I can easily say that because I hate shooters. No, oh, empty noise. Allow me to enrage you further about that professor. Not only was he not tenured, sorry, I just got the Blade of Olympus. This is the part of the game where it starts to piss me off because... Oh, wait, did I die? Do I not have the Blade of Olympus yet? Or no? I don't know. It's just, you get so few orbs to begin with, and then it's even fewer in Chaos mode. And now I have to... Oh, okay, yeah, this is where I was earlier. Oh, except there's all this... I'm sure I come back. I don't know. You know, just because I can, I'm gonna go back. But yeah, our school was so crappy. I was so pissed. Every time there was a required class or something, it was like the last semester that they offered it. Or something stupid like that. And I kept missing out on all this stuff. I remember in senior year, we were taking senior thesis. It's like the class for seniors. Oh, was this just a secret for like... I thought this was like a ledge or something. So everyone has to take senior thesis. It's required because it's like your final, here's your film, like make this. And we get there and the teacher's all like, oh, well, you should all know this from your cinematography class. And everyone's like, what cinematography class? He's like, oh, you all took cinematography, right? And everyone thinks for a second. They're like, oh, you mean that class that was offered once in the 8 semesters that we were here and in slots for 10 people? Are you fucking retarded? No, not everyone just gets to take a class whenever they damn well please. And I was in the freshman class that like every semester they changed the requirement for who gets to register first. So One year I wasn't old enough. And then the next semester I didn't have enough credits because they just changed it. And then they switched it back to something else. And I was always the last group of students, even in my senior year, to the last to register. And I never got the fucking required classes that I needed, and it pissed me off like a lot. So that was stupid. But anyway, back to these professors. The whole thing of that was they were always firing professors and bringing in new ones. These professors that Angie was talking about, that was their first semester there. They were like they were in the test year. And so you'd think, oh, okay, you know, whatever. They didn't know the ropes. They fucked up a little bit. Not only did everybody give them like the shittiest review ever when it came time for professor evaluations, despite that, the school offered them jobs.
No, they offered one of them.
Oh, just one of them? Okay, I thought both of them.
They offered him a job, but not the girl.
Okay.
And he was like, no, it's both of us or nothing.
Okay, Angie just kind of told me what happened was, oh my god. Gardner's knocking on the door again, hang on. Okay guys, sorry. Angie's on her way to another children's party as Elsa. And of course, right then is when the Gardners decided to block the driveway and water the shit out of everything. So she's like, oh good, now my dress is gonna be in the water. It's just the whole, I just had to help her, you know, leave. Because costumes are no joke, man. But yeah, anyway, I guess what happened with that douchebag professor was he got offered a job, but not his, like, fuck buddy. I don't like the looks of these. And like a jackass, like an entitled dick that he was, he's like, no, it's both of us or nothing. And he had the gall to tell the college board, like, you're gonna hire us both or I walk. And thank God he walked. But of course, I got to be in the class that experience. You know, I couldn't be one semester earlier or later. Like, oh my God, I swear I got the short end of every popular. One time I was in, you have to go visit your college advisor, right? To you know, get your classes kind of planned out and shit. And so I go to the initial one, and it turned out that the guy who was my advisor, literally, this is the story they gave. They're like, yeah, he like worked here, but he like hasn't shown up, and so like temporarily you're gonna have this advisor just for the beginning. Like we'll reassign you to another advisor for the time being. But yeah, your guy, basically, they don't know where the fuck he went. Fucking dude who worked at the college just wasn't there all of a sudden. And it was kind of important because I was in the major that required this ridiculous 4 years of planning because it was just a very tight, there were 2 film degrees, and I apparently chose the one that had a bit more meticulousness to it. So it was kind of a requirement that you get your initial advisor meeting out of the way. And so I go to my temporary guy, and I go through the whole thing, and he's before that, the initial meeting was this guy was such a comatose loser. Damn it, tried to block that. And basically, the initial, like, group meeting was him just going, yeah, so, you know, it's good to take classes that are required for your major, and, you should take some other classes that interest you. Like, the most no fucking shit speech ever. I'm like, really? I should take classes that are required and some shit that I like? Like, oh my God. I hated him right away. And so, of course, of all the temporary ones that I could have gotten, he was the one I already knew he was like brain dead. So I go to him, and he spends, so there's a BS and a BFA, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Fine Arts. I was a Bachelor's of Fine Arts, and, but, you know, of the film degrees. They were similar. So he spends like a half an hour, unbeknownst to me, prepping me for the Bachelor's of Science. And then almost at the end of the meeting, he's like, "Oh, you're a BFA." I'm like, "Yeah, does that change anything?" He's like, "Yeah, oh, I was giving you BS classes." I'm like, "Okay, so can we fix that?" He's like, "Oh, well, I need to go on to the next student right now. So, you know, just fix that with your permanent advisor. You know, the guy who's dead or missing or they don't know where the fuck he is." So I'm like, fuck yeah, like I needed more reasons to hate you. So we're going through that, and so you have to schedule a meeting, and it's the whole fucking thing. So I go through the like laborious process of fucking getting a meeting with this fucking what? By the way, it took a year for them to like finally assign a goddamn advisor to me. I kept asking and shit. Like, "Oh, we don't know. We have to get a new one because this guy like disappeared." So I finally get it. So I'm a year behind now because I needed these classes planned out and shit. Alright, I'm like, as you can see, I'm concentrating. So when I finally get the meeting, I go there, I go to her door, and just on the door, I had to wake up at like 8:30 in the morning and walk all the way down to campus and everything. And I get there and it's like, "I'm sick, so all meetings are not happening today." I'm like, "Well, fuck you. I waited forever for this I'm still trying to get my initial freshman, just got to college, plan my fucking future meeting, and it's sophomore year." So I fucking get up, I'm so pissed. So I just go the next day. I just show up, and she pokes her head out the door, and you know, this is the day after she was sick. And I go there, and I'm like, "Yeah, I need to meet with you." She's like, "Oh, but you didn't schedule an appointment." Like, I swear to God, this was years before that South Park episode. The darn it! Like, she gave me that fucking tone of voice. And by that point, I was just so pissed, I walked away. So junior year comes around, and she's like, and I finally get to meet with her, and she's like, "Oh my God, why didn't you plan this out?" I'm like, because you fucking shooed me away, and we're sick, and oh my God. I didn't get it. So because of all that, I didn't get my classes planned out like all the other BFAs got to do. And the way it's supposed to work is you take a semester and you go to Los Angeles. Because you're a film student, there's a satellite office out here. And you go to Los Angeles and you do like an internship and you do the experience, you know. Go work and you get some movie stars coffee and, you know, it's supposed to help you do that. So I didn't get to fucking do that because the professors were fucking idiots. Also, the BFAs had such a demanding, tight schedule that it was kind of hard to do that. Unless you got that advisor meeting and planned out how you were going to do it, you really did not have time to do it. The Bachelors of Science had a bit more breathing room, but the BFAs they just took more classes. But as it turns out, I found out like second semester senior year that not only could you take the internship over summer, like kind of like a summer semester cheat code kind of a thing, you could also do it after you graduated. So I said, fuck it, that's what I'm doing. You screwed me all the other times. So I graduated college and then did the internship through the school, and that was kind of my excuse to move out to Los Angeles, and I just stayed because I already graduated. I had nothing left in New York, so that's the story of how I came to LA. Not waste the opportunity. That QuickTime event is not permanent. Sometimes it is. they hurt each other, which is funny. Shit, yeah, he hurt him pretty good. So I'd like to imagine that getting rid of the one Cerberus will help me. Help me, but I have a feeling they'll just spawn another one. Yeah, no, empty noise. Yeah, it was kind of a pain in the ass. But I was a lazy college kid. The thing is, I didn't know everything. I didn't know that I wanted to do the LA semester. It was all pressure. It was pressure from the professors. Like, oh, well, you have to do the LA semester. Like, how are you gonna be a film student and not do the LA semester? Like, it wasn't a requirement. And because I was getting screwed so many times, I just kind of took it upon myself to learn what the required classes were and shit. By the way, like, junior year, they switched what the requirements were, so I had to take this other class. And so, like, it wasn't like I was so completely screwed. It just took some elbow grease on my part to actually learn what it was. Plus, I was making some friends. I don't know. It was just nice. I got to live on campus. I was away from school for the first time. Or my other choice was to try and go to California for school from New York. So my choices were kind of deal with these New York problems, even because I already live in New York, or try and figure out how to reapply for a fucking California school, which I just was not going to do that. Plus, I got the vibe, too, that, like, California schools, and it's true, I'm glad I had some version of foresight. Film schools in LA are just a fucking, they just throw you to the wolves. It's just, that's what everybody wants to do. Any school in LA, makeup school, film school, graphics school, video game design, that's what everybody wants to do. So I thought, you know, a nice kind of private school up in the mountains, it was good. Like, I learned some shit, but it definitely could have been better. I am glad I did not go to a LA school. Now, granted, there are a few schools in LA that might have helped with the job search a little better, but I've been lucky in job searches, so I'm not going to complain too much. Plus, going to Ithaca was, like, awesome, so whatever. Ithaca was cool. A friend of mine, Voice of Dog, actually, you know him, he actually did switch schools. Ithaca was pissing him off too much, but it was to his benefit. He wanted to focus on photography a little better, and he went to a better photography school, so good for him.